So in the previous class, we were studying about attributes. Within that, I was briefing that image tag with attribute SRC. Okay. So image tag is used to insert an image in HTML page. So SRC source attribute SRC it's specify the path to the image which is to be displayed in your web page. Okay, so attribute always I told you that attribute it has two values. Uh, it has two not values. It is paid with a value. Okay, source attribute it will be paid with a value. Okay, the value must be quoted in double quotes. So let us see the example here. This is the syntax. We need to write image. This is the tag, start tag image. For here, there is no any start, there is no any end tag, only start tag. Okay, image. And then source is the attribute is equal to quotation marks and this path. Now, if you run this one, as I told you that the code will be run and your image will be loaded and it will be displayed in your web page. Okay, so it is being loaded. It is taking somewhat time to load the image. Okay, now see, this is the heading, the SRC or attribute. This is the heading here. As I told you that the code written in the editor, web editor. Okay, so this is the header. Within this is the content SRC start tag header end tag. Within this content SRC attribute. If you want to change here from you can, because in the online editor many times I told you that you can keep anything. You can fastly write the code here and you can run the code and check back that whether the web page is being executed or not, displayed or not. So you simply write uh, today's class is what HTML attributes. HTML attributes. Okay, now attributes. Now here the paragraph is what you change, you delete all this one and whatever the content you want to keep here as per your wish you can keep all the content. You can change this content as per your wish. Understand? So under the HTML attributes, I have briefed that uh, one is the hyperlink tag. Under the hyperlink tab, okay, I have briefed how to keep hyperlink here. This is what attribute HTML attribute. Under this image tag with what with SRC attribute. SRC means source attribute. Source attribute. Now run this code. So under the HTML attributes, what are your? This is the heading for yourself, and then image tag with that is to be shown. Image tag with SRC attribute. Okay, image tag and the image tag. This is the picture that is being loaded here. Okay, this has somewhat width and image. This is the image tag source attribute. It has a value. This is the value. Dot jpg is a photo giant experts group. Giant experts photo group. Okay, this is the width and height. Width and height. These are the attributes. Source width height are attributes and 500 600 they are the values. They are the pixel values. Okay, you can change them also here. It doesn't matter whatever you want to keep. You want to keep 300, 500. You want to change height, width, and then you run. So your that is what picture will be. Picture will be small. It is looking very small. You can change the pixel size. Then after body closed and body section closed with the end tag and HTML closed with the end tag. So these are what attributes. So let us try to understand how many ways are there to keep the image, to insert the image in your website. So there are two ways. Okay, one is that there are two ways to specify to keep the URL in the source attribute. I told you that URL is what uniform resource locator means link in the source attribute. So one is that absolute URL. So absolute URL means if you want to keep the images, if you want to if you want to take the images from external images, they are posted in another website. Okay. If you want to load the new URL, which is if you want links to an external image, so that image is hosted on another website. Example, this is the source attribute, value is this one. So image is stored in another website. That is what here, this is w3schools.com. Within this website, image is being loaded. So they are called absolute URLs. Okay. So external images, if you want to load the images from external websites, they are under copyright. So if there is no any permission for you, you may be in violation of copyright laws. And we can't control the external images because the website it may be shut down, it may be changed suddenly. So if you keep images which are from external side posted in another websites, so there may be any time that website may be get down, shut down. Okay, so don't do like that. Don't take the images from the external websites. Take relative URL. Relative URL means links to an image which is hosted within your website. You are creating your websites, images are in your web a folder, in your folder, whatever the code you are writing in the notepad, that is being saved in your a folder. A folder will be kept with the name of your website. Okay. And that images, all the images are kept stored in your folder where in which your website code is being kept safe. Here URL doesn't include the domain name. Here domain means, see, here this is the domain name w3schools.com. Okay, this is the domain. Okay, domain name. So here in relative URL there is no any domain name. So if a URL begins without a slash, it means it will be relative to the current page. Like this. If there is no any slash, so it is relative to the current page. If the URL begins with a slash like this, it will be relative to the domain. If forward slash is there, it means it is related to a domain. Okay, understood that. Domain means in a website. So it is always suggested to you use relative URLs. So they will not break if you change domain. Okay. So let us try to understand width and height attributes. As I told you that image tag, it contains the it it also contain tag should also means must contain the width and height attributes. So these width and height attributes which specify the width and height of the image in pixels. Okay. So width and the values must be kept in double quotation marks. So this is the width value. This is the sorry. This is the width is attribute and this is the value. Both the value is assigned to attribute with the is equal to 500 and 600. They are the values. Must be specified in double quotation marks. And the width source, src source, width, height, they are the attribute, and the 500, 600, they are the values of pixels. Okay, this is also value image underscore girl dot jpg image. Now let us come to the next topic, the alt attribute. Let us try to understand next attribute, that is alt. Alt means this attribute alt also that will be specified in the image tag. So alt means for alternate text for image. If you want to keep any image, for that if you want to keep alternate text, okay, if the image for some reason cannot be displayed, if the image for any reason it wouldn't be displayed that moment, this alternate text will be displayed. This can be due to slow connection, whatever, okay, or an error in the source attribute. That moment, this alternate text will be displayed. Okay, now let us see. This is img image is a tag. This is source is an attribute with the value, then alt is an attribute, this is the value. So that moment, if this image is not being able to display, that moment this alternate text will be displayed. So let us see what happened here. So this is called the alt attribute. So understand the alt attribute is the content text kept in header section inside of the start and end tag of header section. So the alt attribute and the paragraph, the alt attribute should reflect the image contents. So users who cannot see the image get an understanding of what the image content. So this is the, see here, this this is the image being loaded, and then after, so alt girl with a jacket, this is the alt text. So now let us see. So it is looking somewhat bigger, so you change the size of this one, the pixel, you less the pixel size, you now run. So now what happens, see here, where is your pixel, this is the photo, and then alt text. So this alt text will be displayed only at the time of, if your picture is being loaded properly, so this text will not be displayed. In such a condition, this text will be displayed only whenever your image is not being loaded. Understood that? Try to understand that. Here your image is being loaded very clearly and properly without any interruption. So if there is a slow connection in your network in that moment, so this alt text will be displayed. Okay. Now come to the next attribute. That is what? Next attribute is what? So what happens if we try to display an image that doesn't exist? Suppose whenever, if there is no any image, That moment, what happened? This text will be displayed, alter text. What happened? Girl with jacket. Because what happened? The alt text will be displayed. Why? Because this image is not found there. That moment, the alt text will be displayed. Understood that? So whatever the image you want to show in your web space, if there is the website is not able to find that that image, so this alt text will be displayed. Okay. Now next is what? Next attribute, style attribute. Let us try to how many attributes I have explained in under the attribute. The first is what? Which attribute? And they are all the attributes will be part of your image tag. The first attribute is what for your that is what for your source. Under the source attribute, the website address, URL address will be kept so that you can get into that through that hyperlink. You can get into that another website. Under the second attribute, that is what under the attribute of what your under the image tag, under the source attribute, whatever the what under the image tags, under the source attribute, whatever the image you want to display in your website, that is one attribute. Alter attribute, width and height attributes we have studied. Okay, next, the previous class, for links word, for links also same, huh? Next, so let us come to the next attribute, that is what your next attribute is what? Style attribute. So style attribute is used to add styles to an element. So how many elements we have studied? One is that root element. That is the main element after the HTML document declaration. Okay. Next, that is root element, HTML root element. Okay. Otherwise, we can say that that is the HTML started with the start tag. Okay. So if you want to add somewhat styles to any element, suppose header element, paragraph element. So if you want to add styles to elements such as color, font, size, and more, that moment example is what? So this is P. P means what? Paragraph. If you want to add somewhat styles to your paragraph, style is equal. This is the style is attribute. This is the value, and color red. Okay, this is a red paragraph. Now this element, paragraph element, to be ended with the end tag. So these are called under the style attribute. You can style your elements, any paragraph element, header element with this color, font, size, and more. Okay, this is the way. This is the content. Huh? So how to keep like this? Try to understand. Next is what? Lang attribute. What is lang attribute? You should always include the lang attribute inside the HTML tag. So this language attribute, it is always must be included inside of your HTML tag. So to declare the language of the web page. So it will assist the search engines and browsers to understand that language of that web page. So here following example specify English as the language. So now as I told, this is the HTML declaration, document declaration, HTML root tag. sorry, root element started with start tag. Here you need to specify the attribute language with English en is the value. Okay, understood that. So now what is the next? Under the body section, whatever you want to keep, paragraph and pages, paragraph headers, whatever. Next, come down here. Country codes can also be added to the language code in the language attribute. So country codes. So the first two characters define the language of the HTML and the last two characters define the country. So example, English as a language and United States as a country. So under this HTML start tag language is equal to English hyphen US. This is the way. Okay, understood that. Now come to next is what title attribute. The title attribute defines some extra information about an element. So this title attribute it gives somewhat extra information about an element. So so this value of the title attribute will be displayed as a tooltip when you mouse over the element. When you keep the mouse over an element, so that attribute, the value of the title attribute will be displayed as a tooltip. So whenever you keep your mouse over the element, see like what you know, P is equal to title. P is what? P is a paragraph. Title, I am a tooltip. So whatever the content you kept, value kept assigned for a title attribute that will be displayed whenever you keep your mouse over element. If you keep here element is what paragraph. Paragraph is element. Now whenever you keep your mouse, so there this content will be displayed. This is a paragraph. Let us see here tooltip. So now I want to keep the mouse over the paragraph. So if I keep the paragraph, you run this code. So now whenever you keep the mouse, see if I keep the mouse over the element, so I am getting I am a tooltip. So if you change this tooltip, if you change this, you are so intelligent. You are so intelligent. Okay. Now you run this code under this whenever you keep an over more paragraph section, that is you are so intelligent. Okay, that will be displayed as a tooltip. That is what tooltip. Huh? So next attribute, try to understand what is the next attribute. Okay, who is highest, always use lowercase attributes. So for any attribute use lowercase. Okay, HTML standard doesn't require lowercase attribute names. So the title attribute and all other attributes can be written with uppercase or lowercase, like title or title. That doesn't matter. Okay. Title attribute. Next is what W3C recommends lowercase attributes in HTML and demands lowercase attributes for stricter document types like extensible hypertext markup language. So now that is very important. You need to code attribute values. All attributes must be assigned with values. Okay. So this is the way to always the values to be quoted in double quotation marks. Bad is what for any attribute if you want to assign value, the value kept without any quotes. So it is bad. Okay. So now see So singular double quotes. Double quotes around attribute values are the most common in HTML. But single quotes can also be. You can also use single quote. Doesn't mean. Okay. In some situations, when the attribute value itself contains double quotes, it's necessary to use single quotes. Okay. So here understood the value has double quotation marks. Shotgun is under double quotation. So that moment the total content must be kept in single quotation marks or vice versa. Okay. Let us understand the summary. All HTML can have attributes. href attribute of a is the hyperlink tag, specifies the URL of the page the link goes to. SRS a source attribute. SRS attribute of image specifies the path to the image to be displayed. Width and height attributes of image provide size information for images in pixels. Alt attribute of image tag provides alternate text for an image. Style attribute used to add styles to an element such as color, font size, and more. Language attribute of the HTML tag declares the language of the web page. Title attribute defines some extra information about an element. So now here is an example. Here is a exercise. Add a tooltip to the paragraph below with the text about W3. You do this homework at your home. Okay. How to keep tooltip. Okay. Whenever I keep the mouse over this content, so a tooltip to be displayed. Okay. So now I'm going to terminate the class, and next we will meet on next Friday. So that moment I will brief the next class in our headings. Already I have briefed. Okay, headings I have briefed and paragraphs also I have briefed. Under the paragraphs also I have briefed. Headings also I have briefed. And next lesson is what? HTML styles. Just I have briefed HTML styles also, how to write the HTML style. Okay, and we will try to understand styles and formatting in next class. Okay, so now I'm going to stop the class, terminate the class here.